Hello, Geeks and Gamers. Matt Lemke here with True Gamer Goggles. We are at Origins Game Fair 2015. I like to date it. And we're going to talk a little bit about, well, I guess it's still new. It was a popular Kickstarter and it's available. It's Witchborn. It's a kind of, I'll call it a storytelling game with a miniatures concept and a level up experience. I think that sums it up.
Yeah, there's a little bit of everything in there.
It's not really a role-playing game, but it's almost a role-playing game, and it has an app that makes it interactive and randomizes a lot of your encounters. But I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to, oh my gosh, Cory. Is it Kammer or Kammer?
It's Kammer.
Okay. And I'm going to let him kind of go. They have this big map that is really kind of cool, actually. And I don't know, what is this, vinyl?
It's vinyl, yeah. It's like a double thick vinyl that's supposed to have a stay flat property, so it comes rolled up, and then when you roll it out, it should flatten out in about 30 seconds.
Okay, so where do you want to start? Let's start with the background of the game world.
So the background of the game world is, this is a post-apocalyptic setting. And what happened was an elf was very much in love with another elf. And they were being hunted, and we don't need to get into the whole background, but she had this very powerful artifact, which is now known as Chalicea's Talisman. And it kind of overloaded and caused a rift in the fabric of time and space. And since that point, when people die, they no longer die anymore. Their body is inhabited with this malignant spirit, the Witchborn.
Vicious.
They take over your body, and you come back smarter, tougher, faster than you were before.
Okay, I guess I misinterpreted that from yesterday. I thought that there was only a possibility you became a Witchborn. So no matter what, if you die, you become a Witchborn.
If you are a mortal being and you die,
so you're not a vampire like I kind of thought, or you're not a werewolf like I kind of thought. That puts a different look on the game.
So as you can imagine, Grandpa dies in the hospital. Well, they wouldn't have necessarily hospitals in the fantasy world, but Grandpa dies, and you're going to bury Grandpa. He pops up, and now he's fast.
Eats you.
And tries to eat you. There's not a lot of the population left, and so people band together in these little war clans to try and stave off the Witchborn.
Yeah, no city-states yet.
No city-states yet.
So, before we go much farther, you might notice it's a miniatures game, but there's no miniatures. That's because it's actually a rules set. And you get to use pretty much whatever minis you own. And I guess I should have clarified that when we first started talking. But what really drives the story is the game is all the stories that you've put in. And each story has one of these big, this is 36 by 36 or 48?
This is 39 by 46.
So you get this big map, and then you get how many small maps with it?
Each adventure comes with just the one big map, and then you get the adventure guide that explains all the ways that you can use the map, and a phone app.
Oh, so the small maps that are over there?
Those are just for the demos.
Oh.
The quick start guide, which we're giving away free at the show, you can print out your own version of that little map.
Okay, so and that's obviously a PDF though.
Yes.
Any chance that you're going to actually do books, like printed books?
Right now, the rules are in PDF form. We've been doing that to just save money. They'd probably cost $50 a piece to print for the two reference guides. And so, at one point we were even talking about giving the complete rule set away for free, but then we're like, we've got to, there's 8 years of development in here, we've got to get a little bit of money.
From somewhere.
Yeah.
So basically, you have the app. Well, I guess we should start with the characters, which means I should get up and probably
All right, so you need Acrobat Reader, which is free for everybody to play this game. And rosters come with the starter set, or you can buy individual ones for 99 cents. But this comes completely blank. It's all white, actually. This comes completely blank, it's all white. And there's a non-printing button up in the corner that you click that, and after you've determined what warriors you want to add to your war clan, a little pop-up menu comes up, and you populate your sheet, and depending on how fast or slow your computer is, it could take a couple minutes, and it does all the calculations in the background, and it pops up all your warriors in place. But what makes it special is there's hundreds of hidden fields in here, so it'll pre-populate you with probably no armor, so as you add armor in the game, you just type in which armor that you have. It's defensive bonus. It automatically totals it up under your defense score. As you add weapons and skills along the way, you can just type those in, and as long as your players add the gold piece value of everything they buy down the column there, it totals up to one big war clan value. So that's how you gauge your war clan against other war clans, because this is truly a campaign game. You're going to be playing a series of adventures. You might play the initial adventure multiple times and then move on to the second adventure, but as you're going along, you're going to acquire loot, new skills, level up, better armor, magical items, potions, the whole bit. There's room to give your war clan members all funny names. You can call your war clan whatever you like. This is actually a very tough war clan. This one's at 829 value. A brand new war clan is at 100. So this guy's played game after game after game and slowly leveled up all these characters.
If I remember correctly, this war clan is about 2 years old.
Yeah, this one's a couple years old, and a lot of work goes into it. You know, here's one right next to it, same race, but it's only a 280 value. So this guy's only played 7 adventures, so he's gone from 100.
How'd you know that?
There is where you track experience points.
There's a little.
The first column is adventures played, and you get one. Your character gets 1 point for every adventure he plays, because there's injuries and wounds that could make you miss a game, and so your whole war clan's playing except the guy's back at camp and he's sick or recovering and that kind of stuff. And guys can get permanently killed, so
Like the guy in the corner there.
like the guy in the corner, and he's no longer there until this player decides to
Hire some.
hire a new guy.
All right. Now we can come back. We'll talk a little bit about leveling up. I'll just let you do that because I'll probably botch it. I only played once. So the whole point of the game is to level up and not botch, my camera skills. Make sure that I'm on camera. Is to play, gain experience, and level up and prepare for the next storyline. So through game, you might not be able to see it on the camera, but there's all these different little white dots on the map, which we'll zoom in on here in a little bit. And those generally mark a quadrant.
Well, every adventure is different. For this one called The Chase, what happens is you see this wooden airship is about to crash in the plains,
Which is over there.
over there. And as the pilot's going down, he's trying to stay aloft, and he's throwing cargo out to try and keep himself aloft. He ends up crashing anyway, so he's more than likely Witchborn. But the items that he threw out are scattered across the plains. So these are numbered from 11 to 66, and you roll a d66 and place random discovery markers around the board. And in the first adventure, the goal is for however many war clans you're playing, from 2 to 6, they all saw the same event, and they're all very young, inexperienced war clans, so they're going to try and go and see if they can recover this cargo.
And then through combat and there was something else.
Yeah.
Well, no, but I was talking about the leveling up. You earn.
Oh, okay. So you earn the experience points by making a discovery. So you get to that cargo and you successfully find something, So every discovery is worth a certain amount of points. And then also through combat, the more severe wounds that you cause on people, you also get experience points.
And then at the end of every adventure, like any role-playing game, you get loot and all the good stuff. Where this differs is you can, well, I guess it doesn't really differ totally, but you can not only purchase items and artifacts, but you can purchase troops, effectively.
You can add to your war clan. You can expand in the basic set. You can expand up to 12 guys. You start with 8. And we always recommend don't start adding guys to your war clan until they all have a melee weapon, a missile weapon, and decent armor.
That's some good advice. Because I wasn't going to do that. I was going to be like, I want 100 rats to just get in the way and one good guy. But I'm silly. So, I guess now we should move in and talk about the app. I'll zoom in and we'll probably be in this area.
Okay.
So, show us the app.
All right, so every adventure comes with its own app, and pictured on the Chase, which is the starter adventure, is the once gentle Nari of the plains, which are the centaurs, were the first to be overcome by the Witchborn, and there's probably not a living one left that is not Witchborn anymore. And you can imagine a faster, tougher, stronger centaur is something you wouldn't want to mess with. And so there's a paladin riding his back and trying to take him out there. But in the game, as you're searching for that airship cargo that the pilot jettisoned, when you get to the discovery marker, if you make a successful discovery, your opponent is going to hit the draw button to see what is found. And this is a great one to start with. So he would tell you that you earned 2 shadow points, which is 2 experience points in this game, which usually the more points you get for the discovery, the worse it's going to be for your character. In some of the higher level adventures, shadow points can be 5, 6 points, so you know that you're up against something horrible. And this one is called Take Me to the Pilot. Gives you a description of what you see, but it is the pilot that crashed in the airship is now Witchborn and coming after you. So your opponent would read you the description. There's some notes there about how the pilot is going to act and react. So you'd add a miniature to the board for him, and then it's got his stats built in so that your opponent is the only one who knows the stats. When somebody else makes a discovery, you hit the draw button again, completely random. This one happens to be a good one. There's an orc out on the plain, and he's also saw the airship cargo get lost, and he's willing to join up with you, join sides and help you out. Then later on in the adventure, if you have to go back to that pilot's stats, you just go back over, and it's there. There's a little asterisk for the ones that have stats, and so that pulls back up, and you're back to where you started. So you may go through several encounters, some of them good, some of them bad, they're all there. When you do get to combat, if one of your guys is wounded, this is where it gets ugly, there's a random wound deck in there as well. And so it's the same thing, you draw a wound. A war wound is actually one of the worst. This permanently lowers one of your character's ability scores unless he has some way to heal it. Ow. Ow. Painful. Knockout is the least offensive. Some of these are funny, but knockout just means he's out of the rest of the game. But there are, let's see how long it takes, maimed. You could lose an arm, you could lose a leg.
That'd be fun to play.
And the worst result is very hard to get. Just hit it. The kill. So the kill, when you die, lay down the miniature on the board, and he's no longer part of your war clan. He is now going to slowly turn into Witchborn himself. His body is being inhabited by this malignant spirit, and he is going to pop up and eat his friends. The only way to keep the deceased body going is a fresh supply of blood. And so we always tell people, when you're building this large war clan of 8 guys, don't build a superhero. Don't give the best armor, the best weapons, the best treasures to one guy, because if that's the guy who dies, now the guys who've been standing around and watching are just become runners, because there's no place for them to go.
Yeah, it sounds like the Witchborn are actually very unforgiving.
They are. They are. You don't meet a lot in the initial adventure. You only meet them one at a time usually. As the adventures go on, you can meet 12, 15 at once, and you have to have leveled up and be tough enough to handle that. The other thing the app's got going is when you do a horrible roll in combat, we have a thing called the Oops deck. And it has melee, missile, and magic results. And these tend to be funny. These are the things that go wrong. So this one, congrats, you must be the only one in your family born without a tail. Now fetch your weapon, because you're disarmed. But this could snap your weapon, you could run out of ammo, misfire, shoot your own comrade, and magic, you can have a spell blow up on you. So
I'm glad that magic's dangerous.
yes,
I like that.
yes, it can be. And anytime you need to jump back and forth from decks, you just hit that button, and they're all there in that deck.
Now, with the app, how many games can you have going simultaneously?
So
I saw a save game.
right, the app is actually free on the iTunes store right now, so we tend to say everybody download it, and the game that you're actually playing, you'll just have the one going.
Okay.
At a time. So the players both have to have a smartphone to play against each other, just one player, and you just pass it back and forth.
Which is good.
Yeah, because these are totally random. You wouldn't want to accidentally get the same encounter to come out twice in the same night if it's in the same adventure, if it's something that's unique.
Oh yeah, that could make things rough.
Yeah.
Unique meaning one.
Yeah. Yeah.
So what else do we need to cover?
The big thing about this game is that it's truly a campaign game, and I don't know if we should show some of the other maps and kind of talk about some of the stories.
You can just give, even if you just give me art, I can
Yeah.
put it in some of those spots where
Yeah.
we kind of rotate out. Because I do think that the art is going to be a seller for you, the maps.
Yeah. Okay, so as Matt was saying, we do try and make this as cheap as possible for people. So if you did get the starter set, you get the quick start guide, which gives you just a taste of how to play. And I always recommend to people, play it once, learn the basic rules, learn how to move, learn the basics of combat before you start jumping into the big rule books. The core rules is a pretty extensive book. It's got the basic rules, and then it's got the advanced rules. So when you want to get into flying and magic and some of the stuff that you don't need right off the bat, it's all there. That book has a reference section that's about 100 pages just of all the magical artifacts that you can get in it. The War Clans and Skills book is a total reference book, and each war clan that you can play has their own chapter of about 20 pages that talks about the kinds of warriors that you can have, their initial stats, and then it has background on the war clan. It has descriptions of all their unique skills, and then every war clan has their own unique treasure table. And so or not treasure table, equipment table. And so dwarves can get crossbows and ballistas, but elves can't. They're going to get longbows and different things. Then the starter set, everybody gets 2 of the War Clan rosters blank, and additional ones are only 99 cents, so they're pretty reasonable. And then you get the large battle map, the adventure guide, and the app for the first adventure as part of the starter set. if you're interested, and again, not a requirement, we do make custom dice and custom condition markers. And then for the turn system, you do need some kind of turn chits. You can supply those yourself, or you can buy them. A set is $6.
Okay, so now I'm a little curious. How would you play without the custom dice? I actually kind of thought those were important.
Basically there's 6 sides to the dice, and so you just assign a critical hit is a 6, a shield hit is a 5, a parry hit is a 4, misses are 2 and 3, and an oops is a 1. So that way you can save money. You don't have to buy the dice.
It's a D3.
Yep. And then if
but buy their dice, man. Support the game.
And same thing with condition markers. There's paper templates that you can print out that come with the rule set if you don't want to buy the condition markers. But the nice thing about the condition markers is rather than sorting through 6 paper templates, you got all 6 conditions on one die.
And there's 4 base races.
There's 6 base races.
Oh, I thought there were, okay, I'm thinking somebody else. 6 base races in the game. What are they?
So we start with dwarves. They're pretty classic in the way they work. The elves are a little different than maybe what you've seen in other games. They all have a little bit of innate magic, and they're not mortals, so they can't turn into Witchborn. That's the nice thing for elves, but they are extra tasty to Witchborn, so that's the bad thing.
Oh, the magic blood.
Yes, exactly. We have the guild is the 3rd war clan, and they are the little rat men who have sort of a Japanese influence. So think ninja, yakuza, that kind of thing. They have access to katanas and are incredible fighters. And then the 4th race are the Norn. They are human barbarians, and what makes them unique is some have latent shape-shifting abilities. So you might be able to turn into a giant bear or a saber-toothed tiger or something like that as your guy levels up and gets experience. The orcs, everybody loves orcs. These are based on the Mongol hordes, so you might not be used to having orcs have the best, some of the best horses and composite bows and that kind of stuff, but it makes them very formidable. And then the paladins is the final human race, and they are not the Boy Scouts that everyone always thinks of. They're more a combination of a Texas Ranger and a Templar, and their order is designed to hunt down and destroy Witchborn. And if they get lucky enough and reunite all the pieces of Chalicea's talisman that are scattered all over the world, they may be able to bring an end to the Witchborn. So, very special war clan.
Yeah, but don't get your hopes up on that too much, because you've got, I think I saw 12 maps.
Yeah.
So they've got a lot of time for you guys to play before that happens.
Right, right.
I think it's really impressive that you, if I remember correctly, you said yesterday that like this 823-point plan that's about 2 years old, you guys are only in the 2nd big map.
Yeah, it just depends. Like, we've been developing this game for 8 years. So I've got the first dozen adventures completely ready. Available to the public right now are the first 2.
I don't think that's, you misunderstood. What I was trying to say is this clan here that's 823 points is about 2 years old.
Right.
And what I thought I heard you guys say is they're kind of struggling in the 2nd scenario. So basically it takes 2 years to get to that scenario level.
Yeah, it really depends on the player. You know, there are
luck and other features of that nature.
Exactly.
How often your opponent kills you.
And how often you play, right? If you play once a month, you're going to advance.
Oh yeah, that's true too.
Advance slower.
If you play every day.
If you play every day, you're gonna zip through and be ready for the tougher stuff.
How long does one module take to complete adventure-wise? Like
time-wise, it really depends on number of players. So The chase can be played in 90 minutes with an experienced group. It might take you 2.5 the first time you play. But if you had 6 players going, that's a lot more decision makers, a lot more people going. It might take 4 or 5 hours, you know, for one game. It just really depends on skill level. And
So one game would be a complete adventure, or
one game would be the complete adventure, and you work your way. Somebody finds that airship cargo, safely carries it off the battle map. What happens in the multiplayer games is it becomes this giant rugby scrum of people just hacking each other and trying to steal the treasure from each other, and somebody usually gets lucky and trips and manages to crawl off the board with the treasure in the end.
okay.
But then you can come back, you can replay, because the app is so random, you can come back, replay the same adventure over and over before you can, before you have to move on to the second map.
And that, I think, is the important part of the game. Not so much, I mean, the Witchborn are important, but the fact that you can play the same adventure over and over again is key.
Yeah, we've played the chase at least 500 times between demos and everything else, and never had a game remotely finish like another game. It depends on the personalities of your players, their experience, everything else.
Luck of the roll.
Luck of the roll. And then the other thing that happens is each adventure guide comes with alternate ways to use the map. So you start off playing head to head, you might want to play with your buddy. And so now you're playing cooperatively, and another buddy is playing a herd of those Witchborn Nari. And so
That would be bad.
that would be bad, but you don't take that one on until you're a little more experienced.
Okay. So is there anything you think we missed?
I think we got it.
All right. Thanks, Cory.
Thanks, Matt.
I appreciate it. I'm glad I'm one of the first ones to see it. For those of you that have seen it on Kickstarter, I hope this gives you more information than you had before. They're already available, so has it fulfilled? Has your Kickstarter fully fulfilled?
The Kickstarter is completely fulfilled, and we're taking new orders.
Awesome. All right, you going to be at Gen Con?
We will be at Gen Con. We're running events. We didn't get a booth.
Smart move.
So please sign up. Just search for the Witchborn, and some of the events are sold out already, but there's plenty of room.
Very cool.
So
Sold out events are very cool.
yeah.
All right, thank you again.
All right. Thank you.